In conclusion, reinforce the purposes and to project its sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness that you might feel. You should strive not to use notes. Again, time's 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of the speech is My Plate.
My Plate. Mike Mishra, Mike Krishna, Mike Mishra, My Plate. Thank you.
When Anil called me this Saturday uh, morning, I was having the breakfast, and basically I was enjoying the breakfast from a beautifully laid out plate. Little did I know that I knew that I would be speaking using that plate as my speech title or speech title. So basically I came up with an idea to use the plate as my speech title for today. Good evening, Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters, and our esteemed guest. So as I mentioned, the title of my speech is My Plate, and I will be discussing about the new nutrition guide published by the United States Department of Agriculture, also called USDA. And what they mention is that, basically they replaced the earlier guide, which was called the My Pyramid, and it was replaced very recently around June 2nd, 2011, which is this year. And they replaced it with this kind of diagram. I have a visual aid with me. So basically, I'll be using it eventually in my speech. If you guys can read, it says we will have a plate instead of the earlier My Pyramid, and it's divided into 4 quadrants. The first one will be the fruits, which constitutes of 20% in our plate. The second one will be the grains, which is 30%. Third one is 20% proteins. And the fourth one is the 30% vegetables. And the fifth and the foremost is a cup of milk or yogurt, which constitutes of, or basically, which is the dairy item. Generally, instead of drinking any sugar item, we should drink plain milk or low-fat or non-fat milk. So one reason why My Plate was chosen as the icon instead of the existing one is because the My Pyramid was considered as confusing and too abstract. On the contrary, the My Plate is simpler to follow, and by balancing our diet using the My Plate, we can easily lead a healthy and balanced lifestyle. So coming back to the details of My Plate, if you see on this side, I have divided the quadrants with some examples. On the first quadrant, as I mentioned, we have 20% fruits, and the fruits can be anything. For example, it can be bananas, apples, nectarines, or berries. The more varieties you have in your food, the better it is for your health. The second one is the grains. Now the grains can be of 2 types. The first one is the whole grains. The second one is the processed or refined grains. So generally we should prefer the whole grains because of its health benefits, like we have more fiber in a whole grain. So we should always go for more and more of whole grains in our diet. But generally, you can see that it's consisting of some, we have brown rice, we have oats, millets, which are part of the whole grains. And for the refined grains, we generally have corn flour, tortillas, or our cereals, which we consume in the morning breakfast. Now the third one is the proteins. In the proteins, I have some beans here, mostly for the vegetarian people. We have some vegans who even don't eat eggs. So those people can go for tofu, beans, or all these kind of like kidney beans or garbanzo beans, or maybe they can go for some vegetarian items like lentils. Whereas for the meat eaters, we can go for steak, eggs, poultry, seafoods. So these are all part of the 20% proteins. So the fourth and final is the veggies. Veggies constitutes of mostly the dark green vegetables. For example, broccoli, beans, we can have collard green, mustard green. We can also include other vegetables, for example, potatoes, cauliflower, or other kinds of vegetables to basically fill our plate. So as you can see, the advantages of this MyPlate is we can have a balanced plate, and it includes 50% of the veggies and the fruits which we need. In addition, we also have the grains which will provide our carbs to us. So it's very easy to balance our calories. And there are other two advantages we have. The first one is we can easily reduce the items which we don't need. Like for example, the diets, like the food which has high sodium intake or sodium contents, we should not go for that. For example, some frozen items and all, we should not take those. Now on the other hand, we have certain foods, for example, whole grains or high fibrous food, we should definitely take those. So the best idea about this MyPlate is we have three advantages. We can balance our calories, we know what foods to reduce, and we know what foods to increase in our diet. So for more information about MyPlate, you can go to choosemyplate.gov, and there we have so many different menus, recipes, and ideas to choose your plate, and you can go ahead and basically beautify your plate and life and lead a happy and healthy lifestyle. And I forgot to mention on this one, this was the 1 cup of yogurt or non-fat or low-fat milk which you can associate with this plate. So this combined one is kind of called MyPlate or choosemyplate.gov. So the picture you can easily see, or maybe this way as well, giving you an idea what should constitute your balanced meal. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, for that speech.